are the body. And so many of the messages that the Lord had for me today was contained in that song. So thank you, Damion, for prompting that. And thank you for the opportunity to put into action. I added, Damion doesn't know this, I added some discussion questions to what he sent me yesterday. There wasn't any on there. And my opening question was identify, define, what boxes are you find yourself in? And Damion gave us over 20, and that's just a short list of some of the boxes that you might be able to identify with. Yours may be on that list. Yours may not be on that list. But I pray today that you had an insight, and without revealing what the box is, I think that's between you and the Lord. And you've already hopefully, done business with him and saw that, this is something that needs to go, and you've already removed it. But I want to focus on the second question that you see that I posed there, which is simply this, and I'd love to get a response from a handful of you. I said, what do you need to do to get out of your box, and what will happen to you, your family, your ministry, your life to get out of those boxes? So it's really a combination of 2 and 3. What do you need to do? And then what will happen to you in your life and family ministry? So I know it's courageous to step out of the box and be maybe the first guy here to step up. I know we can identify with this. I know we all have something. Nobody's exempt. We all have something, that Achilles heel, an area that we struggle with, that box that we're in. But what do you need to do? And then what will happen to you as a result of getting out? Who'd like to be courageously step out and share and love to hear from you, because that will encourage others to take that step as well when they hear somebody that, well, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what's going to happen as a result of that.
Hey, Rod, I'll step out. Damion, thank you for your message, brother. My song was Jesus Moved by Big Daddy Weave. It was really powerful this morning. So my one word this year is intentional. And so just right along with your message today about getting out of the box, being intentional, stepping out of really comfort and complacency with my faith. And so one of the things that I've already done a couple of weeks ago, and Rod knows this, I did a father's blessing with my kids, all 6 of them. So that was one thing, was pretty amazing. And then I get the opportunity to work at a small rural hospital. I've been there for quite a few years. And so I work on the floor where a lot of the patients that come in obviously are very sick. But as you know, the last couple of years with COVID, a lot of patients are isolated. Well, I'm one of the few people that can go in, I treat a patient. So I've taken that opportunity to be able to pray with these patients and just see where they're at. I had this opportunity yesterday. This gentleman, he's been blind his whole life, very hard of hearing. And he's in a position where he's going to be stepping over out of his home, probably going to a nursing home the rest of his remaining years. But my question a lot of times is asking, are you a man of faith? Do you believe in prayer? And he just lit up yesterday. He goes, yes. I go, would you like for me to pray with you? He goes, I would love it. So having those opportunities, those are just little opportunities to step out and be intentional with my faith. And that's for me is just getting out of that comfort box, that complacency box that I find myself in at times. So thank you for bringing it and challenging us today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, brother. Can you actually, Scott, can you give me that song? Can you type it in there? And
yeah.
I think if anyone has more worship songs, I definitely can make
That's a great album. It came out about, yep.
Okay. And I'll put like a playlist together and send it to you, Rod. You can send it out to people.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Thank you, Scott, for starting us off there. Anybody else? What do you need to do? Or what are you doing? What have you done? And what will happen to you, your family, your ministry when you get out of those boxes?
Well, when you come out of those boxes, just expect to be very uncomfortable. Okay, it's going to be odd. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to feel very vulnerable, and you're going to want to get right back in your box pretty quick. So when you come out, just expect that, and you better be finding some people around you that will. You feel it's of the Lord. You need to get some people around you that walk with the Lord that can help you with that, because it's a pretty vulnerable, scary place to be. But it can be the best decision it is the best decision you ever make in your life. I mean, for years ago, for me, it was as simple as, hey, I'd like to drive a church bus on Sunday morning. And I remember the day they asked me to get up and talk about why I did that. When I got up, I heard somebody talking. I'm not sure who it was because I don't remember a thing about it. To this day, I don't. But, the Lord was in that. And all these years later, he's still in it. So you've been doing things a certain way a long time, especially as a guy and you're north of 50 years old, and you're set in your ways and you don't realize it. Take that challenge. If God's tapping you on the shoulder, take that challenge. It's scary, but it's worth it.
Hey, Steve, if you don't mind, can you just drill down a little bit on the fear factor, what's going to happen, vulnerability. But what happened? Was there peace? Was there joy? Was there what happened when you did step out and you pushed through that initial stop? What can a guy expect on the back end of that? And what did you experience personally as a result of that?
Well, depending on what the project or what the deal to do was, I mean, you're nervous, you're scared, you're shaking, you're whatever, trying to walk through that. But when you get on the other side of it, there's usually somebody there that will pull you aside and encourage you. And all of a sudden you'll realize, okay, I wasn't crazy. Okay. All right. There's something more to this than just me wanting to do something different.
Yeah.
And fighting through that. But usually somebody would come and encourage, and then even a little further down the road, somebody else would affirm that. And those are some of the little things that I experienced with that.
That's great. Good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got a story, or what do you need to do and what will happen to you?
Hey, Rod, I'll break my silence here. And it reminded me of when I was calling on Bass Pro, and I remember telling a buyer one time I had great relationships, and I would tell them when they didn't need to put something in, and then they trusted me when I said, you're making a bad decision here. You need to add this. What you're doing is you're making the consumer's decision for them to buy this product somewhere else if you don't put it in. And so they would put it in, we'd be successful. So I shared this with the guy at the conference that came into my booth. I said, when we get a word from God to speak life into someone else, and we shut that down, we're making God's decision for him. We're stopping the flow. The conduit is squeezed tight, and that power is not manifested in us. And so there's a difference between the presence of God and the manifest presence of God. When we speak that word, his presence is manifested in the power of that moment. So
that's good. Awesome, Cecil. Anybody else?
I apologize for jumping the gun on that, but one thing I'll do now is, one thing's been helping me lately, ever since I heard that yesterday, is right when I'm doing stuff in the day, all of a sudden that phrase, "flip the script," will come back to me. And it wakes me up in my everyday moment of doing things the way I always do them. And so I think I'll add the get out of the box to the end of that flip the script. I'll be thinking of your talk now, Damion, too, because I still am in a box. I mean, one of them is, I'm over the men's club and we go to breakfast and we always have to say a blessing. And I always refuse to say a blessing because I don't like to pray in public. So my goal will be to try to get over that hurdle, because I know I could do it, because there's been other ways that come out and have been more open and been in front of people. And so I've just got to do that. But I appreciate that thinking out of the box again. I haven't thought about that for a while, but that goes pretty well with the flip the script. The flip the script kind of tells me to take action right now, quit doing things away, just going through life in a trance every day, which I basically do, especially now that I'm locked in my house. Talk about being inside a box. That's the wrong kind of box. But I mean, because of COVID, I don't really get out and do that much different. I do some things, but it's very risky. But anyways, I appreciate you talking on this today. It really goes well with what I learned yesterday. So, and again, I apologize for jumping the gun. I thought we were into that session already. So.
Oh, that's so good. I love the flip the script, and just hearing the flip part, right? It's just like you think of a coin, and I even think about, it came down to the Chiefs and Bills game by a flip of a coin, really. And people always focus on the flip. It's like, will the flip go on my side or the flip will go on their side? And we have the choice to flip the script. And then we have the choice, just like Patrick Mahomes saying, okay, it's flipped to my side. I have the opportunity to do something. Now go and do it. And so thanks so much, my brother Carl. Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's huge.
Good. Anybody else? What do you need to do and what will happen to you when it happens?
Sometimes we need to ask God what he wants us to do.
Yeah.
I had what was to me a fairly profound experience in 2007, which is about a year after I had completed my career, 33-year career at Hallmark. So one morning I said, Lord, is there something you want me to be doing here? I'm not still think I'm really doing anything. Well, later that day, same day, I got a call from the church nominating committee. The way I would do it is interview people that are potential elders or deacons, and then ponder that over and pray and see. But anyway, so I did. I hadn't thought about that, but anyway, so a couple of weeks later, same song, second verse. Said, Lord, I haven't heard from them yet. Is there something going on here? Later that day, same day, I got a call asking me if I would be the facilities elder. Well, I had looked over I'd been on the nominating committee 2 years before that, 2005 and 6. And I didn't even notice that facilities elder was open. Well, and so I went in and prayed about it. I said, yep, I'll do that. Well, as it turned out, 2008, 9, and 10 were very consequential in the life of the church that I go to. Made major upgrades to the facilities, and then another major move by the church. So it was something I wasn't looking to be. I wasn't sitting around saying, boy, I'd sure like to be an elder. And it wasn't something that I had considered, but by asking, God put me in a place of consequence.
Hey, Larry, as you're sharing that, I'm re-looking at Damien's list. And I hope that, guys, you will, these are some of the promises you can claim, and you went by them real fast. But when you step out, you will give more generously. You will become more creative, inventive. Revival will happen. You will serve, trust, love more. You have breathtaking moments. That's what happens when you get out of the box. It becomes less of you and more of him. And all those experiences and all those journeys and those steps that you've made, and Jim, your 33-year career strategically prepared you for this next assignment. And because you took time to listen, and there's no coincidence that the very day that some of these things happen, I mean, God was putting together the pieces, you were being obedient, and then he said, I'm going to blow you away. I'm going to do way, way, way more than you dreamed or imagined, just because you said yes. You got out. You stepped out. You did something that you knew God was calling you to do. I mean, I look around the horn here. Scott, that's exactly what's happened to you with the last few weeks. You knew God planted this, and now you're seeing, the evidence and the proof of that. Yeah, it was a little weird, a little scary, like, really? I mean, but you were obedient, and God is just absolutely went before you. Steve, your story, you've shared with me different experience you've been through. I mean, your Grand Canyon experience is a great example. You stepped out, did something super uncomfortable, and God met you there, and he provided a beautiful, beautiful picture of his grace and mercy and love, and his provision was unbelievable. You know, Mike Bailey, you're a late bloomer coming to the faith, and God was putting this together, and you could have easily said, well, you know, I've done too much, and I'm too old, and I'm unqualified, and you could have had all these things, and God said, no, step out, Mike, trust me with your life, and boy, I'm going to take you on a journey and a ride you will not be able to believe or imagine what I'm going to do in your life. So I see that in so many of you here on the call, and you know, those are the promises you can count on right there. Damien's laid them very, very well out and given us scripture to validate that, promises to validate that. Anybody else got a story or an experience? Mike, go for it.
Very quick one, Rod. Thank you, Damion, for the depth and the quality of what it is that you taught us this morning. Just brought it back to memory. That key thing for me, and as Rod said, I was pretty late in life coming to the Lord, but the key thing has been trust. Unless we can trust God, unless we can trust his word, none of it makes any sense at all. So when we submit to that trust, that's when God can do his work. So thank you. Bless you all. Another great talk this morning.
Yeah. And the word you use, the word submit, the word Damion used was surrender. And it's the same concept. When you surrender, Lord, I'm yours. You got a better plan than I got. I'm going to believe you. He does it. And Mike, God has been so faithful to you. Your best years happened when you gave your life to Christ, you know, and praise the Lord for that. Anybody else?
You know, Rod, it's crazy. You know, what I love about God sometimes when people don't realize as a speaker, you think you just share and you speak, but the Lord teaches you so much. And that's always asking my prayer when I speak, Lord, teach me something within the words that you give me to share. And I'm just gonna be honest, it's like, I didn't realize as much as I was sharing this morning, and I've been praying for this, and God opened my eyes to it. There's a box I've been living in for my whole entire life that I didn't realize it was in there. It was the box of the devil's lie. Believing into the devil's lie that I can't be the husband I want to be. I can't be the father that I want to be. And I believe there's too many men right now believing in the devil's lie, and it's kept them in the box of actually living a full, abundant life with their spouse and full, abundant life with their children. And that devil's lie as well in that box, I believe me tearing that box up will allow my dad to come to salvation. That my dad will say that Jesus is Lord. And I've been praying for that, for my dad's salvation and my dad to see Jesus and be before him, and to not hear the words, depart from me, I never knew you, but to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. And then I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, how many of us in this Zoom call that may just got off, or even just right now, that doesn't realize we may be in a box right now. It's the devil's lie box, that we're believing in a lie that we can't do this or we can't do that. And it just literally dawned on me. I literally was thinking, like, God, why am I struggling with Show Me the Father? The movie's sitting on my stand. I can see it right now. I purchased the movie and I'm like, I can't watch it right now. Why? And it was because this box of the devil's lie saying, you know what, you can watch it again, but can you truly be that? Yes, I can't be perfect, but man, I can labor and strive and have a strive daily to be compassionate and to be kind. Because the devil will say, oh, you was impatient with your daughter the other day. You ain't going to be patient at all. Oh, you was selfish around your wife. It's always going to be about you. And I'm sitting here and saying, man, I got godly men that's around me that can help me through this. And I think sometimes we think we have to just get out the box ourselves, but there's men that God has put in our lives to help us get out the box. that will destroy the box with us. And so my prayer is, literally this morning, I'm just asking, would you just help me destroy this box of the devil's lie? That I can continue. I'm doing it already. That being married 5 years and having 2 children, and I'm gonna share this with you because we're about to share it to the world, that I'm gonna be a father of 3 now. Like, I'm literally gonna be a father of 3. I possibly may have a son. And if it's a daughter, it's awesome, but there's a chance that I get to father a son. And what would that look like in my life? And I think that's why in my heart, when I'm sitting here saying the devil's lie, what is this box that I've been doing? I'm saying maybe this next child is to help me get through this last box. That knowing God is going to help me through this, but this last child is going to be birthed into this world that I get to help lead and steward with my wife. Will understand that I'm going to have to live in this devil's box. It's already been defeated. It's already been broken. I just got to get out of it. And I think you need to hear that right now, is that we thought we had to destroy it. Yes, we need to destroy it, but you're already called to live outside of it. We just place ourselves in it. The box has no power, We live in the power of Jesus. And so I just want to encourage people and just share that. And, that's something I just ask, will you help me continue, especially as I share on February 28th, because I'll be honest, I've been wrestling with that these last few weeks. And I was like, man, I'm excited to share, but also, man, my heart has been broken because I know my father's story, but also I know the father's story that I'm creating within myself and God is creating within me with my children. To sit down, I desire to sit down, do a father blessing like Scott did, and sit down with my children like you did, Rod, and ask them, like, what do you see in me? And hear those words, Dad, you love me, you care about me. That's what I'm passionately seeking and desire as a 26-year-old. And you guys are all older men in my life that been there, walked that path, the mistakes, the highs and the lows. But I get to learn from every single one of you. And that's what I love about TGIW. I'm just being honest. And so thank you. As you guys are sharing, this is helping me as much as you think I'm helping you, because God is so good and he will speak to through anybody and show through anything how we can continue to live a lifestyle outside the box. And that's more for me, and saying, God, I'm going to continue to steward well with my marriage and steward well with my parenthood. So my daughters grow up and my next unborn child that's going to be here soon, like, let it be so. Let it be so. And so thank you. I just had to throw that out there. It just made me emotional. It's a powerful thing.
So here's something you guys have heard me say for over 20 years. Those of you that know me that long, I say it virtually every time I give my accountability talk. And I say it this way: I need you and you need me and we need one another. And so I'm going to personalize it. Damion, I need you and you need me and we need one another. And I got your back, man. And there's a lot of guys on this call and a lot of guys in our ministry and a lot of people that are cheering you on. And as we cheer you on, you're cheering us on. And that's how the body works. I mean, that's my song that I had on the thing. We are the body. We are the body. By Casting Crowns. And that's what the beautiful thing about iron sharpening iron is, when it's happening in the real way, it is super substantial. It's not insignificant. It's not, pie in the sky. It's reality. And man, it is powerful. So thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for being real. And I need you. You need me. We need one another.
Amen. Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, it's been a powerful morning, guys. Thank you for your hanging with us. Sweet time once again. Damion, thank you, brother. And thank you guys for participating, engaging, praying, participating, writing on your paper, giving us a worship song, throwing that paper away that's held you hostage for way too long. And we serve a God that's a breakthrough God. He wants to break through the chains, break through the stuff, and give us life and life to the abundance. So praise God for that.